Hello everyone and welcome to another deep dive session with me, and in today's talk I want to talk about Starfield and what this game's success or failure could mean to the gaming industry as a whole. Before I delve into my thoughts, if you do enjoy this video I would really appreciate it if you could drop a like, and if you really liked it, consider dropping a sub. The channel has been on a real roll lately with subs and very much in the upward trajectory, so I would love to see that continue. Starfield, in case you weren't aware, is Bethesda's first new IP in 25 years and is the first major release since Fallout 76 back in 2018. More on that later. Studio head Todd Howard describes Starfield as Skyrim in space, promising deep and rich storytelling in a huge, procedurally generated world of new planets to discover and people to meet. They recently showcased a huge 40-minute deep dive into this game, and I'll be honest, it looks fantastic. Right now, this is easily the most eagerly anticipated game in a year where there isn't really much more coming in the way of major AAA releases. There is deep weapon customization present, where each one of your wide array of weapons can be heavily customized. The ship's modular building system allows for an incredibly creative and unique ship design that not only affects how the ship looks, but what capabilities it has not only in combat or movement in space, but what you can do internally as well. Stations within the ship that can be manned by AI crew members give you the opportunity to craft new items, effectively allowing you to have an almost flying homeworld. The visuals look great, the storytelling promises a lot. All of this sounds amazing. However, in my opinion, there are more things on the line here, more consequences at stake, if you will, which could have major ramifications, not just for Starfield and Bethesda's future, but for that of Xbox and the wider AAA gaming industry. Let's begin with the impact on the game and the studio. Bethesda has a highly decorated history of delivering fantastic, open-world RPG games set in various universes. Multiple Elder Scrolls titles and Fallout titles over the years have stood the test of time and are still highly popular to this day. Recently, however, things have not been quite as rosy. Whilst not a Bethesda game studio in itself, Bethesda published Redfall, made by Arcane Studios, to a wave of horrendous reviews. This prompted public apologies and acknowledgements of the game's shortcomings. Go back a little further, and Wolfenstein Youngblood and Rage 2 failed to capture the audience's attention, and then we go back to the last major release from Bethesda, which was Fallout 76. Does anyone remember this?
And it's our biggest one yet. It is 4 times the size of Fallout 4. And this time it features all new rendering, lighting, and landscape technology. It allows us to have 16 times the detail and even view distant weather systems across the map. I read on the internet that our games have had a few bugs. All of this just works. I'm not kidding.
This game was a disaster for Bethesda. The game itself was a buggy, broken mess, and the PR and marketing for this game was so tone deaf, it was scarcely believable. They ignored the issues post-launch, staying silent on the bad performance, underwhelming story, and don't even get me started on the pricing structure of their microtransactions. The game was a financial and reputational disaster for Bethesda, so Starfield, coming some 8 years later, comes with a fair amount of trepidation for a lot of people. Todd Howard is brilliant in front of a camera. He knows how to talk to an audience and what to say to encourage excitement before a major release. But gamers have long memories. They will not so easily forget what happened with Fallout 76, a beloved franchise that promised so much and delivered so little at launch. Whilst it is true that gamers and people in general remember the bad stuff more than the good stuff, I mean, Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo are 2 fairly recent examples of good releases from Bethesda's third-party studios, Starfield is going to need to land, and land well, because if it doesn't, it is going to be one hell of a long road to redemption for them. Then there is the impact on Microsoft and Xbox. Microsoft's strategy in recent years has been evidently buying up huge studios to get themselves exclusive titles for their hardware that will help claw back some of the market share that PlayStation has. Bethesda was acquired back in 2021 when Microsoft closed the deal on its $7.5 billion acquisition of ZeniMax, which is the parent company of Bethesda. Starfield feels like the first big salvo to fire across Sony's bow in an attempt to get one over on them, who continue to pump out fantastic exclusives like God of War, Spider-Man and Ghost of Tsushima. With Elder Scrolls in the works but likely years away from completion, Starfield's success is crucial to justifying the decision to buy Bethesda in the first place. It is also crucial to an Xbox system that currently doesn't have many exclusive games that you could say are hardware sellers. Starfield is available on day one on Game Pass, and Microsoft will surely be hoping for a huge influx of subscribers to that service, otherwise it could be another nail in the coffin for a system that is already seriously struggling. Just look at what Phil Spencer said a few weeks back. Finally, the wider picture in the AAA world. We live in a world where, unfortunately, it is easier to mock, criticise and abuse than take a more pragmatic look at things. AAA games have had a bad reputation for always being broken on release. Whilst that is certainly the case in some instances, and everyone will, I'm sure, be able to name recent releases in the past few years that fit that category, there are also many examples of games that are not badly broken at release. Rightly or wrongly, the AAA space is critiqued with a glass half empty type of approach. People expect failure, almost so they can do an I told you so type of moment on Twitter when the news breaks of the game's problems. So when a AAA game comes out like Starfield, all eyes immediately are upon it, and the keyboard warriors are there in preparation for their attack. If the game releases and works well, it can hopefully be a shining beacon of light to all of those who tarnish all games with the same brush based on a few well-documented examples. If it works, I think Bethesda should shout from the rooftops and make a massive deal about this, especially given the scope of the game and what they're shooting for. However, if it doesn't, it will be adding more fuel to an already big burning fire where it will be condemned and the reaction will be just as, if not more aggressive than it has ever been. I myself am sceptical. Games with huge scales and big open worlds fill me with concern and worry that it won't work as intended, not initially at least. But I hope for a largely working experience. This is why I feel they took the decision to put the game at 30 FPS on console. They said they wanted consistency. Well, I say they wanted one less thing to worry about. Game performance is a huge bugbear for people. Laggy and poorly performing games is one of the most annoying bugs a game can have. So to set expectations lower and lock it at 30, it's almost like it giving them a get out of jail free card. All the reasons I have mentioned are why I think Starfield's release has with it ramifications for so many aspects of the gaming industry. I really want this to be a success, I genuinely do, and I think with all the things I have seen and heard about this, it has the potential to be incredible. But I cannot escape away from the pre-release demos and comments that were made about Fallout 76 all those years ago and how the post-release stuff was handled. It has left a really sour taste in my mouth, and I suspect for a lot of other people it's the same. And for that reason, I will await confirmation of the game's performance and playability before I dive in straight away. With the game being on Game Pass, however, that does take away some of the risk. Some games I'm even happy to wait until they're fixed. If Bethesda can live up to the hype and the promises they made from a gameplay and features point of view, but it takes them another 3 to 6 months after release to get there, honestly, I could live with that. I know that's effectively giving them a free pass, and it's actually allowing them the opportunity to release a broken game, take people's money and just say, oh, don't worry, we'll fix it later. But sometimes if it's worth the wait, then I say wait. If you're going to pre-order a game knowing there is a very good chance that it won't work as advertised on release, you're the reason that they are releasing it broken. Thanks for listening to this one. As always, this is just my humble opinion, but do let me know what you think about this game. Are you excited for it? Have you pre-ordered it yet? Will you accept some of the bugs if the game delivers on its promises, or are your expectations so low for Bethesda due to their past that you're simply not excited about it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, hit the like button if you enjoyed, hit the sub for more, and I'll see you all in the next one.